Hi everybody and welcome to Missy's Imaginings. I had a question on how to restring a doll. So I thought, okay, let's go ahead and do that for one of our snippet videos. So when I'm going to restring a doll, I'm going to do Doctor Who here. He's a Doll in Mind Mini-Me David Tennant sculpt head on a resin sole long body, and it's kind of long and lanky and pretty floppy, and the elastic he had when I got him is what I used to restring him when I got him, and it's kind of floppy, and I don't think he's wired yet. I don't remember. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy restrung today. So I have my little Dolly Doctor kit. When you're making customized things and customizing BJDs, it's nice just to have a kit with everything in it that you use. And so I found this cool little like toolbox. It's a little translucent toolbox at Walmart for, I don't know, $5. So it has lots of dolly tools and eyeballs, and there's, like, you know, silicone earplugs for putting in eyes and extra feet and all kinds of things. So I like to keep everything in one place so I know where everything is. To string it all, there's tools that you're going to need, and I have a little bit of a variety here. And not that you have to have any certain one, but these are just things that I have and use depending on what the need is. So this is a stringer I made so I'd have a lot of grip. And this is a smaller version that I just used clothing hangers, some really heavy-duty clothing hangers. I have a little kit with eyes, and it also has some, I have extra S-hooks and some key rings and things that you might want to put inside of a head. I saw someone on Facebook was talking about, how do I get my little girl's head to stop falling off? And so the first thing I would think is to get a bigger S-hook or one of these little rings, something small enough to fit in the head space but big enough that it can't slide through that opening. We have another doll stringer that I bought online when I was restringing a Betsy McCall. This one, though the shape is kind of handy, it's very spindly and the hook comes undone, so sometimes it pays to just make one that's more heavy duty. I have tweezers. I have a little forceps. Sometimes they want to stick and I can't see with the lens, so we'll just stop doing that. String, of course. I have a string that's got, like, I think it came out of a hoodie, so the ends are already finished. Then I have a pair of pliers. I use those mostly if I'm going to be wiring a doll. I have some heavy-duty cord, elastic cord, that I got online. I also have some cord that was given to me lately that I think they use it in like it's mini bungee cord. So I don't know if that would work. I don't know if the lengths are long enough, but this is more like what you'd use in like a large doll like I have. I also have some smaller elastic that I think I got at Joann. Then of course, if you're going to wire a doll, I get this wire at the Dollar Tree. It's $1 a package, and as you can see, it comes in different colors. It's shiny and pretty. It's pretty flexible, so it doesn't hinder your doll's ability to move, but it just adds a little bit of stability to their joints. Here, I'm holding the camera. We'll see if I can unfold that. So it bends pretty easy, but it's nice and pliable at the same time. So those are some of the tools that I use, and we'll go ahead and get this guy's Doctor Who outfit put to the side so we can go ahead and start stringing him. I was going to take him apart, but I thought before I do that, if you're actually restringing a doll, sometimes it helps to know how to measure out how much new elastic you're going to use if your doll is already put together. So what I start with is I measure probably from about here, not up at the elbow, but like the forearm. I'll measure and just loosely go across the chest and follow that path to about here. And then I double that and that will be my arms loop. And then I usually give a good 2 inches for a knot. So that's kind of the distance that I use to measure for the arm. And then depending on how much tension that produces once I get the arms together, sometimes you can take one bit of the elastic up through the neck, or if you need more tension, you can take both of those loops up through the neck. But just as a rule, you don't want to go too short because then they get really kicky. But if you go the full length of the arm, there's not going to be any stretch, you know, to keep everything in place. So I generally start kind of the middle of the forearm, then go up to the shoulder, across the chest, back down to the forearm, double that. So there, that would be my loop. Then I give a good 2 inches or maybe 3 for a knot. And that way I have, I know I'll have enough. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And that will be my piece for the arms. There we go. So that's for the arms. Then for the legs, it's kind of the same idea. I don't want to go the full length down to the ankles, so I'm going to start about here because that gives me this much that it needs to stretch, plus it's going to go up, you know, through his head. So for the legs, I'm going to start about here, and I'm going to go all the way up to halfway up the neck, and then I'm going to go back down the other leg to the same place. There we go. Then I'm going to double that, and then I'll give an extra 3 inches for knots. So that's what I'm going to do for the legs. So that's my elastic pieces. Then I thought, well, I might as well go ahead and take him apart. I wasn't going to, but sometimes if you're restringing, one of the things you really need to pay attention to is to make sure that all your pieces go where they're supposed to go. Now, I recommend, a lot of people always start with the head, and I'm a little different. I think in a lot of videos I've watched, people start at the head and undo the head, but I like to start in the feet and the hands. And the reason being is often, let's see if we can take his head cap off here. There's, well, I've already done him that way, so, but a lot of times in the head there's so much knotting going on that it's hard to work in there. And when we string him, you'll see why I don't have all that mess in there. It's just the way that I prefer to string my dolls. So I'm going to start with undoing the feet, and I'm going to double check my camera, make sure you can see there. Okay, so I'm going to undo the feet, and because I'm going to be using new strings, I'm just going to take the foot off and take the hook out, and I'm just going to put it to the side on this side. Then I'm going to do the same over here, and as you can see, that's really loose. So he really needs new string. So we're going to go ahead and undo that one, and we're going to put this foot over here with that hook. So I'm keeping my pieces separate so they don't get mixed up. So then I'm just going, oh, I did have wires. There we go, he was wired. He does need new strings though. I think that's why he's still so floppy. And especially with the knees, I want to make sure that they're in the right spot and that they're turned the right way, not turned the wrong way. So I lay them exactly how they fit into the doll. And there's the thigh and these pieces. There we go. And then we'll take the torso apart. And oh, I see. I only wired the legs. So here's the wire that I have for the legs, and as you can see, it's nice and flexible. And it did help, but his torso was pretty floppy, so I thought, well, we'll just keep those for his legs again, I suppose. Then there's the hip joints and the torso. He's got a middle torso piece that goes in here. Then we'll go ahead and take off his head. Oh, and I've got a piece of shim here. And let's see. Oh, his arms are still attached. So now, let's see. I've got to keep it in the view of the camera. Alright, so now we'll do his hands. And here again, I'm going to go ahead and just take that off. And he has little wired hands, which are fun. So we'll put that hook there. And then this hand, we'll undo the hook. There's the hand and the hook. There we go. And his string is pretty thin for as big and tall of a doll as he is, so I think that was part of my problem too. All right, then we're going to take all this old elastic out and take out this. There we go. And then it looks like I did have some wire in his arms, so I guess it was just my loose elastic that was my issue. Okay, there we go. We'll put his arms so everything's in the right order on the right side. There we go. I'll take this little hook out. So I had actually a key ring for his, there we go. We'll take out the shoulder. There we go. And this one, put that shoulder up there. And take out the wire for his arms. And there's his torso. Okay, so here's the doll. So we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to these loose strings. And just out of curiosity, see, this was even a couple that were tied together. So that's kind of what it came with, or at the time I only had real thin stuff. So out of curiosity, let's check our length for the legs and see how we'll do. So this one is very, very stretchy, and I maybe have more than I need here. Let's see. I don't know, this is a lot stiffer though. I think I'll stick with this because this is kind of flimsy. So it looks like I used a shorter piece here, but it's really, really stretchy and thin, and I think that's why it didn't hold them together. So here we go. Now in stringing dolls, I'm going to take and first tie my knot, and here we go. I like to string my dolls so that the knot is not in the head, not, but rather somewhere in the middle of the torso. And the reason being is I don't want all that bulk up in his head. So I try to position my string so that the knot will be somewhere in the torso. So if it was going to come up through his head, there we go, and then this knot would be down in the torso somewhere, I have my string positioned like this. So that way I've got just a simple band in his head. Now, granted, a lot of people don't like to do it this way because then if they want to tighten their strings, they have to take the doll all apart. But as a BJD person, it's just part of the name of the game, so I don't mind doing that. Some people only want to take the head off and then try to do a new knot. But to me, I always feel like I'm fighting with the body trying to do that anyway, because it does get so tight. So I would just be taking it all apart anyway, so I might as well put the knot where I want it, right? So I'm going to find the end and double that down. So now I have my loop. Each of these will go into a leg, and I have the knot positioned so it'll end up in the torso. So this is going to be for the length of the torso and the legs. And so that's where I'm going to position that. Then for the arms, we'll see how close I came. So I'll go ahead and put the knot in my elastic for my arms. I'm going to kind of run a twisty here, or untwisty, I guess. Sometimes this stuff gets kind of twisted up on you. So we'll go ahead and put a knot, and I'm just doing a loop knot. There we go, and I'm going to pull it tight. There we go. So here's my knot, and again, I want to place my knot so it's in the middle of the torso, but I'm going to put it on the lower half, and then I'm going to try to get it so it's to one side, just in case I decide I want to take both of these loops up through the neck, because I haven't decided yet. So I think I'll go ahead and do the arms first. Alright, so I had trouble getting the knot to go through the armhole, so we're just going to use a stringing tool, and we're going to go ahead and pull the elastic out one side, And then we'll go ahead and pull it out the other side. I can see, there it is. Okay. So now I have my elastic for my arms, and I'm keeping the knot so that it's inside there. We'll see if we can see that. I could turn on another light. Here, we'll try it. There we go. So there's the knot inside, but I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit close to one side just in case I want to draw both of those pieces of elastic up through the neck. So this is going to be for his arms. Now comes the stringing part. That's such a joy. So there's a couple ways you can do it. If you have something really long, you can draw this all the way down like that, but I usually use string. So I'm going to take this string and I loop it around my elastic, and then I'm going to feed it through all my pieces. So, and sometimes this is so much fun because the string doesn't always want to cooperate. So there we go. So we have, we'll go through the shoulder. There we go. And right now I'm not worried about the elastic. And then let's see, his arm, his upper arm. And sometimes if you have a real narrow channel, this is where some of your tools can come in handy. So I can use this one and grab the strings. Let's see if I can pull them down through there. So that pulls that in its place. Then we have the elbow. So we put the elbow in its spot. There we go. And then the forearm. So this is why you always want to keep your pieces separated so they don't get mixed up. And so this is kind of a narrow channel to try to get that string through. So I'm going to use my little stringing tool again to pull my string. So there we have the arm in place. And then I'm not going to worry about the hand yet. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure I don't pull all the elastic down through one arm. So that's where the little forceps can come in handy, is because now, and these you can get on eBay or Amazon, I'm just going to go ahead and pinch those so they won't pull any farther. So now this is pretty heavy string, so I might have a battle trying to get it in there. But we're going to start pulling the string, the elastic, with the string down through the parts. So we'll put shoulder there. There's that part of his arm. Then his elbow. Put the elbow joint the right way. Then the forearm. There we go. And now I'm going to pull it down to where I can see my elastic. And here sometimes it does help to have some extra hands. But here's where I like my tweezers. Is I'm going to pull and, let's see, I got to get a better grip on my string here. There we go. Or I can have my daughter help me. You want to come help me, Samantha? What? Here, come grab this forearm for me. Just hold it real quick. No, just the forearm. Hold it and pull. There we go. And then put the tweezers in, just like that. And that'll hold your elastic so that it doesn't snip back up and it gives your hands a chance to rest. Then once this is in place, it kind of gives your hands a chance to rest. So you can go ahead and get the hook put on. And here you might want to pull a little bit. And now I'm not sure about the actual size of this for this hook. We'll see if it'll go on there. And I might need to go ahead and apply my pliers. There we go. Hook that on there. So now the hook is on, and now I can put the hand on. And once the hand is on, I can just go ahead and take out the tweezers and the string. There we go, and pull that out. Set my hand in there. And there's one arm done. So there we go. Now go ahead and do the same thing for the other side, and then I'll come back to the camera. So now I have the arms in, and I have the knot inside here, and it looks like they're going to be able to hold pretty well. If you like, you can always take and test. Like, I can grab the one string here and pull it up, and then through that string I'll go ahead and anchor my little forceps so that they'll anchor on the top of the neck here. And then you can test how you like that added tension. And he doesn't seem real kicky with that, and it seems like it would hold. So I might go ahead and just bring the one string up through the neck that would go into the head. But I don't think I'd want two, because I think it would become too kicky. So I may go ahead and just use the one string. Let's see if we can get, so we can see there inside. So one string is just my knotted that goes from side to side, and then the other one I pulled up through the neck. And so you can kind of test on your string. That way, if you did get a little bit longer than you needed, you can adjust for that lack of tension by pulling that up through the neck as well. Now that I know where I want the tension on this, I'm going to feed these two loops for the legs up through the neck, as well as the one that I want to go up for extra tension. So this is when it gets kind of fun for stringing, because there is a lot of tension, especially if you've got brand new strings or elastics that are really stiff. So I'm first going to go underneath behind the strings that I already have. Let's see if we can get them up there so you can see. So I'm going behind those strings rather than in front. And then once these are in place, I'm going to use my little handy dandy forceps so I don't have them go back down inside. I'm going to pin those in place. Then I'm going to use my little hook, and I'm going to go back down inside and grab one of those elastics that went across. So I've got the added tension for the neck as well. And then I'm going to use that hook sideways to help hold that in place so I don't lose it. And now I can go ahead and undo the forceps. There we go. And I'm going to gently start pulling these down so I don't have big huge loops to work with, because sometimes they kind of get fly away from you, and it's easy to have them just jump right off a hook, which I've had happen several times. So now, with both of these in place, I'm going to loop them around this so that all three can be hooked onto the S hook. So there we go. So I've got, going to kind of pull them all snug. Where's the other one? There we go. So now all three are on my hook. So now I can lift that up, and here comes the tricky part. And now I can put my S hook in through all three of them. So let's see, I'm going to lift it up and stick my S hook in there, maybe. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. I can see it now. And the tight one is the one that's going to give you the most trouble. But once the S hook is in there and it's secure, I can take off the wire hook like that. And then I'm gently going to pull these elastics down while I have my S hook grabbed with my pliers. So that all of them are on the hook. Now I can use the hook down through the head and grab the hook, go into the head and pull it up and twist, and here I'm not letting go because I want to make sure my elastics are snug. And once I know they're snug, then I can go ahead and let go. And I'm going to be holding them down here so they don't just pop right back up. But now his head is on. And now I don't have all that knotted stuff inside his head. It's just nice and clean, and it makes it easier. I should have a bigger S-hook, but unfortunately I don't. So this one is kind of small. I'll probably look and put one of these rings on again, just so that it's gives a better shot of not falling through there. So, but I don't want all my elastics to go back up inside the body. So let's see what we got here. We'll maybe put this ring back on. Now this will be a challenge because I'll have to pull that one tension one up high enough to get the ring in, which I don't know that I'll be able to do unless I go across the head. I still don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Not without help. So that would probably be help for another day that I'll need. So in the meantime, we'll just go ahead and get him strung up here. So here we've got his arms in place and his head's in place. So now we're going to go ahead and put on the body. So first is the top of the torso. It looks like, oh, here we go. I want to make sure these are more even. Come on. I think I pulled it too much. There we go. A little bit more. There we go. So now my loops are pretty even for his legs. So we'll do the top of the torso. And see that knot, we're going to bring it down through there. I can find which one actually has the knot so I can pull it. There we go. Then down through this part of the torso. And at one time, I think whoever had him before me, they went ahead and sueded some of his joints, so there's like residue on the resin, but I didn't mind. Okay, so then we have the pelvis. So we're going to take one loop through one leg, and one loop through the other leg. There we go. And once he's pulled tight here together, we'll pull up his shorts around his waist. There we go, just so it's easier to see. There. Cover that up. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and do one leg at a time. So here we're going to do the top of the hip, and then the thigh, and here I'll probably need to use my hook so I can get it down through. And now once I have this knee put on, I'm going to go ahead and clamp this so it can't be pulled back up inside. Then I'll use the string. There we go. I have both of my strings with this long skinny hook, and I'll go up through the ankle. I'll grab my string, pull it down like so. Then once I have it all the way in, and did I have this the right way? Let's see, I'm going to check my knee here. So I'm not sure why my camera keeps turning off. I have plenty of batteries, and I just put in a new SD card, but we'll kind of have to edit and see what we had left. But we used some vinyl shims up underneath his head to help him pose well, put his wig back on. And now I have the wires that I were previously in him, and to measure them I usually go from here up, across, and down, just like I did the elastic, and I'll feed it through one side of the shoulder into an arm, and then feed the other one down into an arm, and then this I usually feed just down through the torso into his legs, so that just kind of gives a little bit of added stability. So we'll go ahead and do that off camera because I have shown that in a couple other videos. So anyway, that's how I string a BJD and how I like to send my wire or my loops down to avoid all those knots up in the head. That's just kind of how I like to do it. So there you go. That's how I string a BJD. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.